teaching your college kids about God in everyday moments. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Amy Crowe. And if you are a mom with a college-age child, then this video is definitely for you. Just want to be honest for just a second. This stage of parenting, I am in it right now with you, and it's a little bittersweet. Our kids are spreading their wings, and they're stepping into adulthood, and they're making decisions on their own. But just because they aren't under our roof anymore or every day doesn't mean that your influence disappears. You still have an incredible opportunity to encourage their faith and to remind them of God's presence and to be that steady source of wisdom and love that they so desperately still need. So it looks a little different than it did when they were younger. But today I just want to share some practical ways to nurture their faith in just everyday moments, even from a distance. So let's dive right in. First of all, it is so important to stay connected. That means that you have meaningful check-ins. So I know how busy college life can be. They're there and they're wanting to just experience everything and be involved in everything. And college life is busy. And sometimes just even getting a text back from our kids feels like a miracle. And even if they don't respond right away, just your consistent presence matters. So I want to tell you some different ways that you can word your text in order to reach them in a better way. So maybe instead of saying, "How's school?" there's a little bit deeper way that you can say it. And it's a low pressure question, but it requires them to have an answer that's more, "Oh, it's fine. What's been challenging for you lately? I'd love to pray for you." And just maybe they'll share a little bit about what's going on and what's stressing them out. I've got this professor that I've heard that story, or I've got this class and I just don't, or I'm not meeting people like I thought I would. I want to be able to meet new people. I don't know anybody here. Or there's so many different things that are going on with them. And they're at that in between. They want to be grown up, but yet they're not quite sure of everything to do. And they still need you. Please hear me when I say they still need you. I want to encourage you to send those texts and be specific with how you ask certain things in order to encourage the answers. You can even send a short encouragement text with a Bible verse or a worship song, or even just thinking of you today. I know God's with you. Anything you can do to lift their spirits, anything you can do to encourage them. They may not tell you. I'll tell you, it matters. It really matters. If they're facing a big decision, gently remind them to seek God's wisdom. And sometimes, even though they may have grown up with it and you've done the very best job with raising them to put God first, sometimes when you get on your own, it's a whole different ballgame. So just remind them to seek God's wisdom when they're making big decisions. And something just even simple. Have you prayed about it? Have you asked God what he thought? Just plant that seed. And sometimes they may not answer, but knowing that you're there and knowing that you're praying for them and cheering them on makes a bigger impact than you can ever realize. So don't ever give up and don't ever miss out on that opportunity to just pour into them and let them soak that in, because they're soaking it all in, and you're still reaching out and you're still cultivating that relationship even with them in college. Super important. Second point, encouraging faith in their independence. This is the season where they're learning to stand on their own, and that includes their faith. This was really hard for me because I've had one that's already been through, one that's in there now, and then one that will be there next year. So I can feel your pain. It's no longer what we believe. It's about them making it personal, and that's hard because I had to get to a point where I did not want my child's faith to be checking a box. just because I wanted them to do a certain thing. Does that make sense? I wanted their faith to be personal. I wanted them to find a church and plug in because they wanted to find a church and plug in, not because I told them to. Do you see the difference? You can easily just go and you can check a box and be like, okay, did that, went to church for the week, and then you're living however you want to the rest of the week. That's not what I wanted for my children. I want my children to find a place to plug in, a home where they can, a church home where they can find other Christian believers who believe the way that they believe, the way that they've been brought up, and to encourage them in their faith and encourage them as they're making decisions to make the right ones, the godly choice. That's what I want. I want my children to stand by their own faith, on their own, not me telling them to, and not me every step of the way. This is them. This is their time to be independent. This is hard. Ask them if they've found a church or a campus ministry, but let them take the lead. And if they share a struggle, instead of just jumping in with advice, just ask them, how do you feel like God's leading you in this? It opens up the door to see, are they still including God in their decisions and in the things that they do? So that's super important. Don't push it down their throats. Pray for them consistently. Never stop praying for your children. And sometimes it may take a little while. You may not see God answering some of these prayers immediately, but He's faithful and He hears you and He will answer. You just have to keep believing and knowing how they were raised and knowing that you have poured into them and that God doesn't take that for granted. So you keep it up, you keep on praying for them. And when they open up about their dreams or their worries, remind them of God's faithfulness in their past. And when they're stressed about something that may be coming up, then they can look back on that and they can see, okay, God got me through this and this. He's not going to let me down in what I'm going through now. Let them rest with their faith and make it their own, because that's a good thing. And then trust that God's working in their heart. And I've said this before, God is working. He's working behind the scenes. He's working when we can't see Him working. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep pouring your heart out to God, because He hears you and He's going to answer you. God is working in their hearts, okay? Even if their journey looks a little bit different than yours, even if it looks different than the journey you thought that they would be on, God's working. Never, ever give up hope. Number 3, you can also create traditions that keep faith at the center. Even if they're away at school, you can still create some faith-filled traditions that keep them connected. I love to send care packages. I did this better with my first child than my second. I don't always do as well, but I've been working on it. Remember Grace. But you can send them a package, include a handwritten note, maybe a Bible verse, maybe a devotional book, maybe send them a playlist of worship songs. Anything you can do just to let them know that you're thinking about them and let them know that you're praying for them. Let them know that they matter to you, that they're important and what's going on in their lives is important. And that just because they don't live under your roof anymore does not mean that you have forgotten about them and gone on. They're still such a valuable part of your family. And they need to know that, because they're in this in-between state. They may be struggling. So just keep that in mind. Sunday check-ins. Doesn't have to be Sunday. You can come up with your own day, that there's a better day that works for you. But we like to sometimes do FaceTime because we like to see our child. And she would even sometimes, it'd be dark. She'd be in her room and it'd be like, I can barely see her face, but we could see her eyes and she was in there. And even if she didn't turn the light on, we knew we were talking to her and we could see that she was okay and she was there. So those check-ins, just to know that they're good, see if anything's going on with their lives, and just to touch base with that home life for them matters. It's just that solid check-in where, okay, I'm in a new place, but I've still got my roots. I've still got people who love me, who are praying for me, and they're thinking about me. Super important. And just ask them, what's something good that's happened this week? What's going on in your life? What's Tell me what's happening and just let them talk. Holiday faith moments, if they're home for breaks, make prayer and gratitude just a natural part of your tradition. So just, you can do that in several different ways and in ways that we've talked about before, incorporating things and talking to them about what's going on in their life and using different things that may have come up or different things that they may ride in the car with you some, even when they're home. They'll usually take a free meal if they're at college, that you can get a meal out of them where they ride with you to that. So just anytime you have with them, just make that an opportunity to find out how they're doing, find out what's going on, and then use those to shape their faith and their prayer life. So any of these little touch points that just remind them that faith is not just for childhood. Faith is a continuous process, and you just continue to refine it and strengthen it as you grow, no matter what. It's for every season of life. It doesn't stop at childhood. It doesn't stop in your teen years. It doesn't stop in college. We're still doing it now. They need to still keep it up and keep it active and make it stronger as they go. And then lastly, but certainly not least, modeling faith in your own life. Here's the thing. Your child may not live at home full time, but they still watch how you live out your faith. They see what you post. My kids like my posts on social media. They're seeing what I'm posting. They're seeing what you're doing, and they're finding out what you're doing. Make sure that you're living your life in a faith-based way where your kids can see God and Christ in you and in your life and everything that you do. If they see you trusting God even in uncertainty, then that teaches them to do the same. If they hear you talking about God working in your life, then it reminds them that faith is real and it's active and that they can trust in God too. If you're trusting in God, okay, if mom's trusting in God, then I can trust in God too. If they know that you're praying for them, that is so huge. If they know that you're praying for them, and not just once in a while, daily. My children know daily, and I tell them, I pray for you every single day. Let me know how I can pray for you. My kids will text me and say, hey, I got this test this day and this test this day. This final is this time and this time. Can you pray for me? Or I've got this going on. I don't know what to do. Can you pray? They know that prayer is important to me. And because of that, it's becoming important to them. This is something that you just continue to work at over time. It's not something that happens automatically, but let them see how important it is to you, and it will be important to them too. So not just once in a while, daily, it gives them confidence that God is guiding their steps and He's with them. So even when you're grown, you're still one of the most powerful spiritual influences in their life, okay? When they're grown. When your kids are grown, you never quit being a mom. You're always a positive influence and a powerful influence in your kids' lives. Please never doubt that and never give up on that, okay? You are so important in your children's lives. Know this is a season of change. I feel it with you. It's hard. And sometimes it's hard to know if you're even doing enough, if what you're doing even matters. But hear me on this. Your presence, your prayers, your encouragement, they matter. So this week, I encourage you to find just one small way that you can pour into your child's faith. It might be a simple text. It might be a prayer. It could be just a reminder that no matter how far they go, that God goes with them. Whatever it is, it can be something little, but just do something this week that just pours into your child's faith, because I promise you it will make a difference. I'd love to hear from you. What's one way that you just encourage faith in your college-age child? Might give me some ideas with mine that I need to incorporate. I am all ears. Drop it in the comments. And if this video encouraged you, I just encourage you to like it and to continue to subscribe, because I want to make more videos that encourage moms in their faith and in ways that they can influence their kids just to be the God-given, Christ-following children that we want them to be. I look forward to seeing you next time. And just remember that God's grace covers you and your child, no matter where life takes them, no matter how old they get. Have a great day.